This is huge news coming out of ABC Trump campaign office burglarized in Virginia. This story broke yesterday at 7, just before the Elon Musk Donald Trump interview. So it got very little attention and isn't getting a lot of attention right now. Let's stress it again. Donald Trump's campaign office in Virginia was burglarized. This is huge. They're saying Virginia may be in play right now. So Donald Trump's office in Virginia is a key component in essentially disrupting the Kamala Harris campaign, or I should say in winning. Let me pull up 270 to win real quick, and we'll slide this over. We'll take a look. We'll reset the map. Right now, they're saying Virginia is safe blue, right? But in Virginia, they have just now switched to all paper ballots, which I'm saying I'd be willing to make a bet. Look at the polling right here, 270 to win. They're saying this is likely blue. It's not safe blue. It's likely blue, likely Democrat. With all mail-in votes, I would not be surprised. I'm sorry, with all paper ballots and limited, I think they're doing, they're severely limiting absentee. It's going to go Republican. I live right here, okay? Let me tell you, can I zoom in on this, make it bigger? Let me tell you about what's going on. Okay, kind of. So we're here in the eastern panhandle of West Virginia, all right? Let me ask you, how is it that you got West Virginia, which is safe red, and then literally right across the street, they say it's Democrat. They say it's likely. Virginia? Come on, really? Now, don't get me wrong. There's areas of Virginia that are very D.C. suburb heavy people. But I go hang out in these places. We went to one of our favorite spots. Some of the best food you will ever eat is Barcelona Wine Bar in Reston, Virginia. Shout out. And when we go there, these are people who live in Loudoun County, in one of the wealthiest areas in what's supposed to be a deep blue state. And they're like, hey, Tim, wow, big fan. Glad to see you here. People are like waving to me. They're fans. It's not a place I go to where I see pride flags and far left stuff, though it does exist. Don't get me wrong. I think Virginia is moderate to conservative, only in the sense that Democrats have gone nuts. And I think the only reason it goes deep blue is because of ballot harvesting. With paper ballots right now, I think Virginia's in play. Could be wrong. Hey, I'm just some guy complaining on the internet. But that's why this story is huge. That someone broke into his office to do what? Maybe steal internal metrics, steal data, leak it to the press? ABC News reports, authorities are looking for a man in connection to a burglary at the Trump for President 2024 campaign office in Ashburn, Virginia. The Loudoun County Sheriff's Office announced Monday. Sheriff's deputies said they were alerted to the break-in approximately 9 p.m. Eastern, but the suspect was gone before officials arrived on the scene. So apparently this happened the day before. Surveillance video provided by officials showed the suspect, an adult male wearing dark clothing, a dark cap, and a backpack. Look at this. Yo, this is insane levels of political interference. Crazy. The investigation is ongoing, and the sheriff's office did not indicate if anything was taken or left at the scene. Quote, it's rare to have the office of any political campaign or party broken into, Sheriff Mike Chapman said in the news release. We are determined to identify the suspect, investigate why it happened, and determine what may have been taken as well as what may have been left behind. The campaign office, which is leased, also serves as the headquarters of the Virginia 10th District Republican Committee, officials said. Okay. Do I got to say it? Come on. The level of political strife in this country is reaching craziness. Crazy points. They say it's rare that someone's going to break into a campaign office like this. That's strange. Certainly it is. Certainly it is. It's rare. So Lives a TikTok posted this. It's rare to have the office of any political campaign or party broken into. Why? I think it's getting crazy. I would not be surprised. We saw this in the last election, violence against Trump campaign HQs and Republican campaign headquarters. Call it what you want, man. This is civil strife. Civil strife. It goes civil unrest, civil strife, civil war. Now, I don't see Republicans burglarizing Democrat HQs. I don't see Republicans rioting in the streets after someone tried to kill Donald Trump. They don't do it. So the fear really is this. With civil strife, this conflict, it could evolve into civil war. I said it. However, if it's one-sided, it's just a revolution. And then you will live under the boot. So I don't know what to expect. But once again, surprise, surprise, it's Republicans being targeted. Likely this is I'd imagine this is a Democrat. So let's talk about the current state of politics in this country. Donald Trump, they're trying to put in prison. His headquarters are burglarized in Virginia. A DDoS attack seeks to stop him from speaking to Elon Musk. Here we go from Politico. We received internal Trump documents from Robert. Then the campaign confirmed it was hacked. The campaign suggested Iran was to blame. Politico has not independently verified the identity of the hacker or their motivation. The acknowledgement came after Politico began receiving emails from an anonymous account with documents from inside Trump's operation. The campaign blamed foreign sources hostile to the United States, citing a Microsoft report on Friday that Iranian hackers sent a spear phishing email in June to a high-ranking official on a presidential campaign. Microsoft did not identify the campaign targeted by the email and declined to comment Saturday. Politico has not independently verified the identity of the hacker or their motivation. And a Trump campaign spokesperson, Stephen Chung, declined to say if they had further information substantiating the suggestion it was targeted by Iran. These documents were obtained illegally from foreign sources hostile to the U.S., intended to interfere with the 2024 election and sow chaos throughout the democratic process. On Friday, a new report from Microsoft found that Iranian hackers broke into the account of a high-ranking official on the U.S. presidential campaign in June 2024, which coincides with the close timing of Trump's selection of a vice presidential nominee. Chung declined to say whether the campaign had been in contact with Microsoft or law enforcement. On July 22nd, Politico began receiving emails from an anonymous account. Over the course of the past week, the person who used an AOL email identified themselves as Robert, relayed what appeared to be internal communications from a senior Trump campaign official, a research dossier the campaign had apparently done on Trump's running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, which was dated February 23rd, which was included in the documents. The documents are authentic, according to two people familiar with them. One of the people described in the dossier as a preliminary version of Vance's vetting file. There's Vance looking a little thick. Lost some weight, it looks like. The dossier was a 271-page document based on publicly available information about Vance's past record statement with some, such as past criticisms of Trump, including potential vulnerabilities. The person also sent part of a research document about Marco Rubio, who was also a finalist for the vice presidential nomination. We knew that, but it turned out not to be him. I believe that they're saying they're not going to release this, but I'll pause there and tell you guys what a spear phishing campaign is. I know most of you probably know, but for the benefit of those who are not familiar, phishing, P-H-I-S-I-N-G, not F, is when you get an email that says something like reset your password. So if you receive an email from Google and it's like, click here to reset your password for a new security update, that's phishing. Spear phishing is when they spoof their email and target you specifically. So what ends up happening then, a spoofed email would be your coworker emails you and it says their email address on it because you can easily fake that. And it'll say something like, hey, Jim, I need you to log into the corporate site for me and update and check your birthday to make sure it's correct. We're doing, internal stuff and we want to make sure we have everything on file. When you click the link, it sends you to a fake website. Then when you try to log in, you're actually just sending your credentials to the hacker. It's a social engineering technique. With that being said, for those who are not familiar with the story, I'll tell you one of the most brilliant spear phishing stories that I've ever seen and personally got to experience when I worked at Vice.com to give you an understanding of how it works. One day I received an email from infonet.some garbage, and it said, hello, we are updating our accounts for all employees. Please click here. And I laughed and I said, oh, please. I'm not falling for that. I walked over to the chief technical officer of Vice and I was like, hey, I just want to let you know I got a phishing email. If it's coming to me, it's probably going to a lot of people. And he's like, okay, I'll let everybody know. Shortly after that, I receive an email from Shane Smith, the CEO himself, saying, hey, did you see this breaking news, with a link to CNN? Of course, the link wasn't really to CNN. It just looked like it. And then it had a signature on the email that said, Shane Smith, managing editor, Vice. And I busted out laughing. The signature did look like a Vice signature, but Shane doesn't use one. He's the CEO, nor would he call himself managing editor. That's spear phishing. And so it said Shane at, Vice or whatever his email was. And so I went to the CTO and I was like, they're ramping it up, dude. Take a look at this. And he's like, dude, I know. We had a bunch of people click the stupid link, and I had to go to them and reset their passwords manually. And but fortunately, nobody got in. We caught it very quickly. But yeah, they're trying to ramp up this phishing attack. And I was like, well, good for you. And then the masterstroke. I clapped when I saw this. The CTO, the next day, I get an email from the CTO, perfect, signature correct, and everything. And it said, guys, I told you this over and over again. Stop clicking on links from people you do not know. We've already been compromised, and now we have to go in and reset everyone's password. Okay, so please click here and reset your password now. And I was just, bravo, masterstroke. And I busted out laughing. I ran to the CTO and I was like, they got us. Dude, look at this. And he went, oh my God. Of course he didn't send the email. It was the perfect long con. They purposefully sent botched phishing attempts so that the CTO would warn everybody that the attacks were happening. So when the CTO when they sent the spoof email as the CTO being like, dude, I warned you about this. The employee goes, yeah, he did come to me. He warned me about this. Now it's personal. And you're thinking this can't be fake. He did tell me I'd need to reset my password if I clicked it. Here's the password reset. He told me I'd have to do it. And they got dozens of people in the spear phishing. So that's how spear phishing works. This is likely how you don't need to be so sophisticated, but that was awesome. And then it was funny when Vice actually ended up getting hacked by the Syrian Electronic Army. Oh, man. I feel bad for the higher ups because they're aware of this and they're desperately trying to plug all the holes. But this is likely what you end up with in something like a Trump administration as they're attacking Trump to try and stop him from winning. They're going to mention that last month, U.S. intelligence community received increasing evidence suggesting Iran was working on plots to kill Trump in relation to his decision to order the assassination of Qasem Soleimani in 2020. There's no indication the shooter who targeted Trump was connected to the plot. In a statement on Saturday, Chung pointed to these reports saying the Iranians know that Trump will stop their reign of terror just like he did in his first 4 years in the White House. Iranian government officials could not be reached for comment immediately. And they're going to mention that they've launched into Russia and all these other investigations. This is what the Trump administration is currently facing in efforts to shut them down. Not to mention, you've got Kamala Harris stealing his campaign positions, offering up none. It is a wild time, my friends. Well, here's the latest updates, okay? In the Battleground Average, this is what matters. But you know what? Let me do this. Let me come back to this so I can explain. The 2024 general election, Trump versus Harris 5-way race. In aggregate, Kamala Harris is winning 1.1 points. All right, let's play this game. Let's do this. I'm going to go 2020 election, pull up that data, and we'll take a look at the vote margins. And then we'll jump to where Kamala's currently at. So we had Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. I know. People are saying, but Tim, it was rigged. Hold on. In 2020, Joe Biden, by all reported metrics, wins 51.3 to Donald Trump's 46.8. Did you notice something, my friends? That is nowhere near 1%. That's a very large margin. Now, here's what's important. This is just shy of, 4.5 points that he's down, that Trump was down by 4.5. That's the margin of defeat. Joe Biden was up in the polls 7.4, but in the end only netted 4.5 nationally. And I believe that's popular vote, correct? That's based on popular vote percentage. Not that the popular vote matters for the Electoral College, but this is what matters here. Right now, we're looking at Kamala Harris being up 1 point. Let's say that she faces the same margin of failure as Joe Biden, which looks about to be 3 points. He polled 3 points better than he did. This means Kamala is down 2 points to Trump if we do the same metrics from 2020. I don't think it'll be the same. Every election, you're going to get a new voting block entering, though they don't have a big impact. Young voters tend not to vote all that much. So we'll see. But a lot of these younger voters are going to be older voters. So 4 years ago, people are now going to be in their mid to late 20s. They're going to start voting in larger numbers. We don't exactly know how things will change. But just off of that, Kamala Harris is actually underwater. But you know what doesn't matter? General election. What really matters is this. Top battlegrounds RCP average. Wisconsin, Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Nevada. Harris is only winning in Michigan and Wisconsin. And if those same margins hold true like last time around, well then, Trump's winning. We can look at betting odds. We can look at civics and things like this. I love this data about Kamala Harris. And it's so weird because she's like the VP who's currently in the administration, but, she keeps blaming Trump and refusing to do work or whatever. Okay, fine, I guess. But look at this spike in her popularity, her favorability. I'm sorry. Just all of a sudden, people are like, I like her now. It's a cult. Across the board, it is a cult. There's no reason to like Kamala Harris now. If you didn't like her before, it doesn't make any sense. But I'll stress, the only thing that matters in the polls is going to be the battleground states. So we will plug it in as we do. Arizona, Nevada, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. They're going Trump over 270 to win. So we got all of that. We got all that. And Kamala just gets these. I don't like saying save blue, so we'll just do that. 287 Republican victory. Let's say this. Virginia's in play. And it's just it. So what does this mean for all of you sitting at home as we watch Trump's offices get burglarized and hackers try and leak information? Well, I'll tell you this about the hack. The reason for the hack on the J.D. Vance info is so that they would give it to Politico, and Politico would then know where Republicans fear J.D. Vance could be vulnerable. Perhaps it says something like, J.D. Vance voted for a certain policy, or that J.D. Vance invested in a certain company. Not out in the press cycle yet. And then the media now gets this, and they say, we know exactly what to do to hurt J.D. Vance, using Trump's own research, his campaign's research on Vance against him. It's the game they're playing. But let them play it. Because I tell you right now, at these battleground states favoring Trump, Trump is set to win. I don't see how Kamala Harris is going to win Pennsylvania right now, because Trump is up in Pennsylvania by 0.8. And the polls always have historically favored Democrats. So while people are saying the polls are fake, no, the polls are the polls. They're always the same. They're not perfect, but just compare them to past polls. This is what people need to understand about polls, okay? You don't need to look at a poll right now to know. I don't need to look at Michigan and say, wow, people in Michigan like Kamala Harris. I need to compare the last election's results to what the polls are saying now. The last election results in polls versus what we're saying now. And you're basically doing a simple math problem, okay? So you look at it, you got the two fractions here. You got actual results, polled results. Actual results are blank and polled results here. And then you can correlate the percentage difference. And I tell you this, based on those metrics, you can claim Kamala Harris is up in the polls. But Biden's lead at this time, in 2020, same day, 7.4. And in the end, he ended up winning by only 4 points. Considering ballot harvesting or otherwise, understand, my friends, we're just looking at Donald Trump doing really well right now. Battlegrounds are what matters. Now, the big question for me, when we look at the civics polling on Kamala Harris is, and this is what gives me fear and pause, what is this? Of course, everybody knows this. Here's Kamala Harris being dramatically unfavorable and then all of a sudden favorable. Civics polling is not like these other pollsters. This shows a massive swing among a lot of people. Now, you can look at the polls and say, like Harris X or Rasmussen, and argue that their methodology is questionable. Civics sends out emails to people and asks them to fill the poll out. You could argue that Civics selects bad people. I don't know. But this is interesting. Let's take a look at Democrat voters. Democrat voters largely had a positive view of Kamala as it was at 79%. As soon as Biden drops out, she jumps to 91%. Why? Honest question. What did she do? What did she bring that made you actually want to consider Kamala Harris? We jump down to Republicans. Surprisingly, she even got a bump of 2 points among Republicans. Okay, sure. Never Trumpers. Whatever. What did she do? It doesn't make any sense. Among independent voters, it's actually pronounced. What did Kamala Harris do to jump from 21 to 36? Understand. Politics. These are people who don't know and don't care. And it's all just one big media circus. Hence, I say, make voting harder, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want people voting on celebrity. It should not be the case that you're like, I saw her on the news. No, you should say, I know who I'm voting for and why. I tell you this. Let's get rid of ballots. When you walk in to vote, you are given a list of available positions and you are told to write in the name. That's the end of it. Make it illegal to make, or I shouldn't say you have to make it illegal, but just ban the process of pre-made ballots. Then you give anybody a universal mail-in vote. I don't care. Because they're going to be like, I don't know what to write down. And they're going to be like, write down Joe Biden. They're going to be like, I don't know. What do I write down? Do that. Changes the game dramatically. Everybody can vote, don't care, but you got to write it in. Now, what the parties will do is what they used to do in the old days. They will hand out a flyer saying, here's the list of people to vote for these positions. And then the people who actually pay attention and want to vote will vote for the names they know. And if they don't know a name, they don't write it in. I think that solves a great deal of the problem. 18 to 34-year-olds really like Kamala. Look at this. It was 56 unfavorable, 33 favorable, and it switched. Now it's 47 favorable and 46 unfavorable. Gen Z, and some millennials. Come on. Really? You've got no real reason for supporting Kamala Harris. Let's just be real. 35 to 49-year-olds, same thing, though slightly still more unfavorable. 50 to 64, all right, still a jump. It's so wild. It's absolutely wild. I bet it's among women, mind you. Among women, Kamala Harris went from 42 favorable to 52 favorable. Among men, I knew it. Among men, there was a jump from 29 to 39, a 10-point jump, but she's still largely unfavorable. I wonder if this breaks down by race as well. White people don't like her. Black and Africans do like her, comparable to Democrats. Hispanic and Latino, wow, she dramatically improved among Hispanic and Latino voters. And among other, thank you, Civics, for making me an other. I appreciate being called other. Yeah. Oh, and you can go by state, too. Well, that's something else. That's actually pretty amazing. Alabama. In Alabama, they don't like her. Let's jump down to West Virginia. Let's see what West Virginia thinks. In West Virginia, they really don't like Kamala Harris. Well, anyway, more to the point. What we're looking at, my friends, the Donald Trump campaign is being attacked in every direction. They not only tried to kill Donald Trump, but what I mean by they is someone tried to end his life who did not like him, okay? You want to talk conspiracies? We'll do that later. I'm saying the people who don't like Donald Trump are all over the place attacking Trump. One of the people who, for whatever reason, didn't like Trump was able to slip through the cracks in every imaginable way, which seemingly makes no sense, and then try and take Trump's life. Then they break into a campaign office in Virginia. Now they're hacking his campaign. There's a DDoS on his conversation with Elon Musk. Wow. They really are pulling out all the stops. I ask you this. Has there been anything on the Harris campaign or Biden campaign comparable to what we're seeing with Trump? No. Call it what you want, man. Call it what you want. Well, let's dig more into this. We have this CNN host asks J.D. Vance if he believes Kamala Harris is black. In the next segment, I want to talk to you about how the media is propping up Kamala Harris, the Time magazine cover. It's insane. And then you got to look at, we'll go over the polling again with J.D. Vance and the media praise for Kamala. They're giving her everything. That'll be it for the time being. Stick around, smash the like button. Follow me on X at Timcast. Subscribe to this channel. And we're going to, for those watching live, we'll jump to your super chats. And for the rest of you, we'll see you all at 4 p.m.